Felt like he had never truly loved his wife, because when he was tempted by a female coworker, he accepted without hesitation, but he would soon regret what he had done. When he got home, acting like nothing had happened, he found his wife all dressed up, and a beautiful dinner waiting on the table.
Happy birthday, darling.
I love you, Daddy. I love you too.
This unexpected surprise moved him deeply. He was filled with guilt over his actions. After a moment of reflection, he decided to make things right. The next day, Frank turned down his co-worker's invitation and instead went to pick his wife up from the small theater. But his wife was in a bad mood. Her performance that day had been a failure. Sensing her disappointment, Frank cautiously brought up a suggestion on the way home. He hoped she could give up her job and become a full-time housewife, since he could financially support the whole family. He thought she'd be happy to agree, but to his surprise, his wife instantly broke down. To her, she had already sacrificed so much. Her dreams, her opportunities in the big city, all for this family, only to end up as a background actress in a small theater.
April, sweetheart, let's talk about this, okay?
Please don't do that. Come on now. Don't touch me.
April.
Just leave me alone!
Pushed away by his wife, Frank suddenly felt furious. He couldn't understand why she was being so unreasonable, even blaming him for not becoming famous. From his point of view, her poor acting was her own fault, and she should have left the stage long ago. Those sarcastic, hurtful words made his wife even more upset. She stormed out of the car in anger. Frank felt helpless, but still ran after her.
Can we please just get back in the car and talk about this instead of running all over Route 12?
Haven't I made it clear I don't particularly want to talk about it?
This action completely ignited the bottled-up anger inside Frank. His resentment could no longer be contained.
This is one time you're not gonna get away with twisting everything that I say, April. This just happens to be one goddamn time. I know I'm not in the wrong here.
Christ, I wish you'd stayed
You know
home.
what you are when you're like this, April? You're sick. I really mean that. You're sick!
And do you know what you are?
What?
You're disgusting!
Oh, yeah?
You don't fool me, Frank. Just because you got me safely in this little trap, you think you can bully me into feeling whatever you want me to feel!
In a trap!
Yes,
You
yes.
in a trap!
Me,
Jesus
Frank!
Christ!
Me!
Don't make me laugh!
Pathetic, self-deluded little boy! Look at you! Look at you and tell me how by any stretch of the imagination you can call yourself a man!
After that explosive outburst, they eventually returned to the car and shared a moment of uneasy calm, but deep down, they both knew their compromise was only for the sake of the two children at home. The next day, Frank got up early as usual to go to work, but this time, before leaving, he glanced around the house with reluctant eyes. He didn't understand how life had turned out so disappointing. Even he wasn't sure if he didn't want to leave or just didn't want to come back. Somewhere along the way, the once open, heartfelt conversations with his wife had been worn away by life's daily grind. Oddly enough, the female co-worker seemed to understand him better than his wife did. In this depressing and frustrating state, he agreed once again to have dinner with the co-worker. He shared stories of his past successes, and she was clearly drawn to him. From her admiration, he rediscovered his long-lost sense of self-worth. The emotional scale began to tip, and their relationship took another step forward. Meanwhile, perhaps out of love for her family, his wife began to think Frank might be right. Maybe, if she followed his lead, they could find happiness again. So she gave up her beloved dream and chose to become a full-time housewife. One day, she found an old photo of Frank from his younger days. It reminded her of her own passion and dreams back then, how she once longed for a life in Paris. She remembered how Frank's dull job had slowly worn down his spirit, maybe out of sympathy for her husband, or simply to fix their broken relationship. April made a bold decision. That night, she was especially gentle. She started by recognizing Frank's hard work, thanking him for everything he had done for the family. She then softly asked for his forgiveness, admitting she shouldn't always lose her temper with him. Frank's heart softened. He also apologized for his harshness, for dismissing her dreams. Just as it seemed things were finally improving, April brought up her idea of moving to Paris so they could both chase the dreams of their youth again. But before she could finish, Frank cut her off. He didn't think she fully understood how tough real life could be. What if they couldn't find good jobs there? How would they survive? But April calmly told him he didn't need to worry. She had already received an assistant offer from a publicly listed company in Paris. This time, she wanted to live differently. She would be the one supporting the family financially. That way, Frank could finally pick up a paintbrush again and chase his dream of becoming an artist, the thing he always wanted to do. Frank was moved, but the pressures of reality made him hesitate. He was no longer that young dreamer. Still, April looked him in the eye and spoke with sincerity.
It's what you are that's being stifled. It's what you are that's being denied and denied in this kind of life.
What's that?
Don't you know? You're the most beautiful and wonderful thing in the world. You're a man.
Her words rekindled something in Frank's heart. It had been years since he felt this, believed in this, encouraged. Maybe it really was time to start over. The next morning, Frank walked into the office whistling, not caring what his boss or co-workers thought. His heart was already in Paris. Meanwhile, April completed her visa process. All they had to do was wait 2 months, and they'd be off to Paris together to start a brand new life. From that day on, coming home from work became Frank's favorite part of the day. And every evening, April would put everything down and greet him with a warm hug. But one day, when Frank arrived at the office like usual, his boss called him in. Not only was he offered a raise and promotion, he was also being considered to head a branch office. The boss admired Frank's newfound fearlessness, something he thought the company desperately needed. The opportunity shocked Frank, but he still planned to go to Paris to pursue happiness with his wife. That is, until the next words from his boss shook his decision.
Frank, let me tell you something my father told me. A man only gets a couple of chances in life. If he doesn't grab him by the balls, it won't be long before he's sitting around wondering how he got to be second rate.
If you want to see what happens next, follow me.